Edward does make a good point here. He's talking about, like, how A&M with the NIL and, it's just ruined their program. And like he says in his next comment.
Here's the thing about that, though. Here's the thing. A&M just saw the stars, and they were just like, yeah, bring in that guy. Like, if you look at their class, like, it was inevitable that a bunch of these dudes were going to transfer out because they brought in so many people at the same position, whether that be D-line or just, like, other position. Mario, what he's doing, you look at the guys he's bringing in and the way they talk about it, they're not the go to a gas station and post a picture on Twitter or Instagram with my nice car or that. They're the guys that they're like, we understand that this is a rebuild. We understand that this is a process, and we understand this is going to be a grind, and we're ready to go in there and work.
But guess right.
What? They're also getting paid a little bit.
I think they have to be careful with that, and I think that's kind of what Edward's saying too. You it could bring that cancer looking for a bag. So you have to be careful what you can't just go out like Texas A&M did and just throw that stuff around, taking everybody you can.
I mean, there was that offensive lineman that went to Texas over us. That he kind of had a whole fiasco around his recruiting. I'm forgetting his name now if anyone knows it. This happened in the off season.
And I mean, I made that exact point on here a couple of weeks ago. I said Stars is great. I mean, absolutely. The teams that you see in the top are the most talented teams. But you have a limited number of 5-stars. And if a 5-star linebacker, and I'll just use linebacker as an example, if a 5-star linebacker is more of a, run stop, get after the quarterback kind of linebacker, and, he's not be able to drop back into coverage linebacker, he may not fit what your defense is trying to do. So you also have to go after the guys that fit what you're trying to do, not necessarily just the star rating.
Yeah, I mean, and we've done that specifically with the linebacker position. You have a guy like Raul Aguirre, the linebacker out of Georgia. A lot of people talk about his coverage ability, and he's really good in coverage. Like, that's what he's good. Like, he's a very good coverage linebacker, and he can also hold his own in the run game. And then you get someone like Malik Bryant or Bobby Washington, and they're more of the guys that can step up into the box and make those big hits at the line of scrimmage and be more run support.
Yeah, and I mean, to that point exactly, I think that's part of the problem we're having. And linebacker has been, something people have criticized this year. Manny got linebackers not to be able to drop into coverage. He got linebackers to be able to, get after quarterbacks, after the D line opens up holes, or to be able to stop the run game. So I think that's part of the problem that we're having too. And like I said, they're just having to do the best with what they have at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can bring in the transfer portal, and there's only so much that a freshman can do. Because at the end of the day, this is like an 18-year-old running out there. And before it was cool because it was like, oh, I'm 18, 6'3", 245 pounds, and I can slam this little, like, 5'9", 180-pound kid. But then I look across from me, and there's someone just as big as me, and he's 22 years old, and he's been doing this for 4 years.
Right.
So it's different. Like, Cormani McClain, he's great, guys, but he's gonna have to put some weight on him. He's 6'1", 165 pounds. No, he's not gonna have to go to 190 or something, but he's gonna have to put a little bit of weight on himself.
They're reading through these. Yeah, and I don't know, Tim. I don't know our cornerbacks not. Yeah, I don't know why we keep getting beat deep either, but it is what it is.
It's communication errors, man. There was one play where DJ Ivy got beat, and they show it on the replay, and Al Blades literally bumped him, like basically set a screen for the receiver, and people were like, "Oh, there goes DJ Ivy getting beat again," and I'm like, he didn't get beat, like his teammate literally ran into him.
Right, or to your miscommunication point, and we saw it in Middle Tennessee a few times, and twice was Cam Kitchens. They're in a zone defense. Tyreek lets his guy go because he's out of his zone, and Cam doesn't pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
So, Yeah, once again, and I keep bringing up this point, guys are not going to get better when you're constantly changing the defense on them. And boneheaded stuff like that, where guys aren't exactly sure what they're supposed to be doing, is what you're going to have to deal with year one with a new system. So it's where I do not get this line of thought why people constantly want to fire somebody and bring in a whole new system again.
No, please, for the love of God, let's at least keep this one for 6 years and see what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at the chat. They're wanting to fire Gaddis. It's same thing on offense, defense, head coach. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say give it a chance. Let's sit back and see what happens.
I mean, something I've noticed with Miami fans, it's never on execution. It's never on the players. It's always the coach. Every single time. It's always the coach. And it's now if a guy's been there like Manny, where it's like, okay, it's 6 years. You've been here as the defensive coordinator and then head coach, and your guys can't tackle. Your guys can't do these proper defensive like things on defense. It's like, okay, yeah, that's coaching, and it's still on the players a little bit because, like, you know, you still are not executing, but
yeah, to me, that's more on the players than the coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were hearing about how he teaches tackling, and he was basically teaching tackling without really tackling.
Well, they're only allowed to do so. Even Kevin Steele has brought this up. You're only allowed full tackling like 3 times in fall camp. That's a problem. Everybody was complaining about that tackling donut that Manny used. Guess what? It's still there. Everybody uses those things. So I think
what about the chain? What about the chain?
Yeah, well, what about it? I was glad to see it go.
I was so happy to see that thing gone.
and the rings.
Oh, geez. All that nonsense.
Man, I hope my camera was working because I just got my chain out, bro. I got this.
Look, speak of the devil.
It's back. It's back. It's back.
Alex busted out the chain now.
Bro.
Now we know where it went.
I got the Cuban links on it. It's right. I stole it. Yeah. Manny drove to my house and he was like, I need you to watch these for me.
Hey, that last comment from Edward is absolutely right. Transfers, you can only do so much with. You're not going to build a championship team with transfers. You're just not.
I mean, you can
not at all.
You can use it to plug holes where you have depth issues. Yeah.
I mean, this year the transfers for us are working very well on the defensive line. You know, I don't know where our defensive line would be right now without the transfers. It would pretty much just be Leonard Taylor, like running around out there. But, you know, we got Akeem Mesidor. Daryl Jackson's doing great. Mitchell Agude makes plays. So, yeah. I mean, it's a process, guys. There's a reason we gave Mario a 10-year deal. I'm not saying it's going to take 10 years, but it's going to take a little bit. This isn't going to be something where after year 3, it's like, all right, it's never going to happen. Fire him. Get the next guy in here we can complain about.
Right.
Yeah, who's the next guy we can crucify?
But see, this is nothing different. And you go back to what was written. Yes, you didn't have the internet at the time, but you go back to what was written, and people crucified Jimmy Johnson for his first year. A team that just won a national title, and Jimmy Johnson lost 5 games with it.
Yeah, well,